Welcome back to the STFU Moment Podcast. I am your host, Christy, and I'm here with our lovely co-host Concha. Say hi, Concha.
Host.
Host. And this is the podcast where your excuses come to die.
Yes, they do.
So today's guest is someone whose name you've probably heard a time or two. We are over the moon that she is finally one of our first guests that we get to bring in. This guest is a published author, poet, actor, and artist. Her art and performances can and have been seen all over Muskoka, with her words published across journals and magazines, and she is going to tell us all about them here today. Her whimsy and creativity does not stop on the page or canvas. She brings to life her favorite characters from D&D cosplaying Juniper and has fun doing photo shoots. And to add to the unique individual, she has a hognose snake named Elwing. I could go on and on about this beautiful human and wonderful friend that Concha and I have, but let's just get into it. Joining us here in the studio today is Kristen Wildfire. Kristen, welcome to the STFU Moment Podcast.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
I feel like this is just such a long time coming. I think you come up in every single one of our podcasts.
Yes, I kid you not. Like, just the other day, I was like, we were making some reference, and I'm like, imagine Kristen doing it. We'll be like, what is wrong with you?
Yeah.
And all of that, like.
I know. So, I think you're famous at this point. Like, people are probably going to be so excited to see you.
Exactly.
I'm very excited to be here because I really love both of you. So just thank you so much for asking me to come. Yeah.
We are super excited for you to inspire our listeners because you have done, it's not about what you've done, it's the creativity and the expression that you brought to everything and how you are just so authentically you. And I'm just so excited for our listeners to get to know you.
Thank you.
Also, just to let you know, Kristen is the reason why Christy and I are even doing this podcast. Yes. Because if it wasn't for her, we wouldn't have even known each other.
No, this podcast would not have been born without you.
Yeah.
So. One of my, main points of my life is to interconnect, other people. Yeah, I really feel like that's one of my special callings is just to introduce people.
Thank goodness that you've done.
Yeah. Yeah. I think Kristen was like, these two crazy Aries 33-year-old females just need to be in the
we
same
need to be one. Let our listeners get to know you. So maybe we can start back. When did this creative, flow, urges? Where did you start? What is your background? Let's give a little insight.
Honestly, my background was just when I was a kid, I was painfully shy. Painfully shy. I almost did not, speak, to be honest. I didn't have many friends. I had a pretty difficult home life, so I think I really turned just inward at a really young age. And I would just make up all these characters and stories, and I would often imagine myself as this almost anime girl, magical girl, Sailor Moon, superhero. And that really just kind of inspired me to don't give up, keep going. And I would always just, picture all these stories, and I was always drawing characters, and I was really into mythology, particularly ancient Egyptian and Greek. So I was always drawing just, anthropomorphic, characters and things like that. So that's definitely where it started. It was kind of like a balm for, I guess, these, wounds of just, loneliness that I maybe had, as a child. And it really, that's what kept me going, to be honest. So that's kind of where it all started. It just came out of being this really inward, shy kid who couldn't really express myself that well verbally. And that's something I'm only getting better at now, to be honest, in my 30s. But yeah, so it was just imagining these stories, drawing these characters. That's kind of where the whole thing started.
I love that. I love that creativity can become such an outlet, especially during hard times, or just I find for me, the creativity came when I was feeling most insecure, but it's blossomed into confidence, into what Concha and I talk about a lot, the audacity to create something bigger than ourselves. So I love that.
I think also the audacity to become your true authentic self and not to hide away. But it's so fascinating, how we go through challenges, and as you put, and the creativity shines through it. So my question would be like, what prompted you to start writing a book? Because you're such an amazing writer.
You
The
are.
poems and even like the art that you do. Like Kristen is one who's like, if you want to do art, just come to my cabin.
Yeah.
Just come. Like she's always promoting it, and even the Nirva mural that we have in the clinic, it's made by Kristen. We had a friend who had a bakery, and Kristen did some amazing work. So I'm just curious to know, like, what prompted for you to start and embark on this journey of writing and painting?
Well, with like the visual art, honestly, as I said, it just kind of like kept like going from when I was like a kid, right? So I was definitely doing art first, and then the writing came much later. So yeah, like I was just always drawing, characters, painting, things like that, and that's just been something that's been kind of a very like consistent thing in my life. But the writing really started when I was in university. I started writing poetry as a way to just cope with, as I said, I had a difficult experience as a child. And, we all carry that trauma with us as we go on. But again, as I mentioned, something that I've always really struggled with is expressing myself verbally, So poetry was really a way for me to get my feelings down on paper. And it really was able to provide me that just deep, like, catharsis that I really, really needed. And I always say I only write poetry when I'm feeling really upset, sad, like, lamentative, like, angry. So it's very rare for me to write a happy poem. And for me, poetry, so it just, like poetry, like, specifically comes from that really kind of hurt, like, sorrowful place like in me. So I was writing poetry, and then that's when my poetry first got published in Diaspora Dialogues in 2012 when I was in university. I didn't really think about it much at the time. My friend was like, oh, you should like submit to like this thing, and I was like, okay. So I did, and they're like, yeah, we want to like publish you, but like it didn't mean anything to me at the time because I was like, in my early 20s, and like I didn't really have any thoughts about becoming a poet or like a, like author or like anything. But later on, while I was in university, I went for classical studies. So I really wanted to become an archaeologist. And I always thought that I was going to go into, like academia and like pursue this. And then one of my profs in third year, Sarah Blake, shout out wherever you are. I don't know. But she wrote on one of my essays on the kind of side margin, she was like, you know what? You write a lot of your essays like they're fiction. And I think you'd be really good at writing fiction because you just have this kind of natural spark when it comes to like prose and just like the way that you construct these documents. It just seems more like a story than an actual academic paper, right? So, and at that time, I had a lot of friends that were really getting into the idea of writing like stories and like novels and stuff like that. And then that also kind of, like inspired me. And I've always been really into, like video games and like RPGs and things. So so it was kind of around that time that the idea for my fantasy novel, my main project that is almost done finally after all these years, that's kind of when it was first born in my mind. And it was kind of like the characters just started like popping up in my mind. And I was like, okay, I know there's like a story here. But really, it just kind of happened naturally. Like, I wouldn't say there was like one moment where one day I just woke up and I'm like, I'm doing this like right now. It was like a slow like trickle over time of just a bunch of like feelings and like experiences and moments that just led to like, you know what? I think this is something really deep in me that I just have to pursue. And, no one is good at writing immediately. It's very hard. And when I wrote the first draft of my novel, I remember I showed like the prologue to my mother, and she was like, wow, this, good work, but also like this is awful. Like I don't just because like I didn't, like sentence structure and things like that. And that's the thing, like writing a like academic piece and writing prose, like fiction prose, is very different.
Mm-hmm.
They're not like the same. So even though my prof said, like, I think you'd be like really, good at this, it takes time to learn how to write like a story.
Yeah.
Especially when you're writing, epic, high fantasy. Like, it's already, there's a lot of different like components to it. And you just have to find a way to make it more easily like digestible. You know what I mean? Like, not just for me, but for the people that I want to eventually like read this.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because I understand everything that's happening because I'm the one that made it.
Yeah.
But for other people, it's, it just, that's just what I'm trying to say. Like, it takes time.
Yeah.
It takes time. So, yeah.
I'm laughing because I've, like, since you and I have met, we've been talking about this piece that you've been working on, and I've only read, I think, 70 pages of it, and it's so amazing, and it's so intricate, and the world building, like, it's so different. Like, I don't write high fantasy, but it's such a different level of writing, I find, compared to, other genres. So just to see you like push through, like, as a writer, it takes something to get back to that desk every day to, edit and draft again and just, really go through all of the things, all the points that you need to hit. I've watched you over the past year being like, this is my deadline. It's going to be published. Like, you haven't, in any moment of anything that you've done since I've known you, this might feel different because, I can't see inside your head, but since I've known you, and I think Akansha probably agrees, like, there's nothing that you've done where you're like questioning or second guessing or doubting yourself or trying to self-sabotage or whatever the things are when you're creating something this beautiful and this big. So my question to you is, obviously our podcast is the STFU Moment Podcast. What was your STFU moment? Like, were you always, like, we've talked about this a little bit, but were you always someone, whether it's your art, like you have art all over Muskoka, which I want to talk about as well. You are published, you are standing up on stage in a couple of weeks to present your work. Was there ever a moment, and if so, what was the STFU moment that you just had to release that excuse and just go for it?
Honestly, my STFU moment, I feel like there's been probably like quite like a few of them over the course of the past, I'm going to say decade or so. But kind of, I guess like the first one that probably started like everything was just me saying, you know what, like, this is my dream. And no matter what happens, I'm going to stick, like, to this. It's like, yeah, so it's just kind of like no matter what happens, and I've really adjusted my whole life to be able to have this extra time to work on my novel because it's such a vast project. And, like, so, like, I've always chosen to work, like, like either one part-time job or, like, two so that I can have that time to work on, editing and writing. And I think part of how that might, like, intersect into the, like, STFU moment is just saying, like, I'm not gonna, like, adhere to what other people think I should be doing. This is my dream and this is my life. And you know what? Maybe, like, I don't have it all, like, planned out, but no matter what, like, this is what I want. And there's been so many times where self-doubt has really crept in, and I just keep thinking, like, what am I doing? Like, years are going by, I'm still working on the same project. Like, what if 5 more years goes, by and I'm still working on it? And, it's a very hard thing, but I just keep thinking there's nothing else that I'd rather do. So that's it. And it's just to believe, like, in yourself. And then kind of a more recent moment that I had with that was a couple weeks back when I got the call that I was going to be cast in the Mariposa Arts Theatre 4th Queer Cabaret, which I was so excited about, and I'm super happy. I was just thinking, like, this all happened because I'm just willing to go out and, like, audition and try, and, like, I'm not scared if I look silly. I'm not scared if I sound nervous. Like, I'm actually a bit nervous right now. Like, even though I love you guys, I'm kind of nervous right now.
You can't tell.
No, you cannot.
So it's like, even if I look silly or, someone says no, like, just keep doing it. And as long as you try, someone will say yes, and they'll say, yes, be in my show, be in my play, I want to publish your work. And it's just like, you just have to try, you just have to try. So that was, that's kind of my moment.
I have chills, and I feel like every STF moment is that kind of breakthrough. It's like I think we talked about this with Donna, the burning desire. Like, you have to have that burning desire and to make it work no matter what. And it's not necessarily like hustle. Like you said, you got a part-time job to sustain what you needed, but you prioritize that time. Like, you gave yourself that time to work on the things that you are passionate about, that you are building that dream regardless.
And I think that's something that we've been talking continuously, reiterating the same thing over and over again in our podcast is believe in yourself, like have that desire to show up. And it may take time for you to reach your goals, but girl, you've achieved so much. Like, we're so genuinely proud of you. Or even your poems that you have written and that I've read. I might not have read the novel yet. But even the poems, like the words that you use, the way that you structure the sentence, I'm always so moved. And I'm like, oh my God, I cannot believe I know her.
Yeah. I think the beautiful thing about we talk about community a lot, and I think the beautiful thing about being surrounded by women like you and like Akansha is that we are big dreamers. We have a goal in mind, a life that we want to create, and I think we've gotten to the point where those excuses, we can't let them stop us. We can't let them get us down, because when I think about the life that I have a beautiful life now that I've created, and I've watched you and Akansha do the same. If we go back to those other years, they were needed, and I'm grateful for them, but I couldn't imagine staying there for one freaking second. Momentum that we create for ourselves and the steps forward, and even as you said, you're like, I'm doing it scared. I'm nervous right now, but I am here. Like, that is, you need to show up, not for me, not for Akansha, but for yourself, right?
And I mean, I heard this when I was launching the clinic in Gravenhurst 3 years ago, and I was telling another business person, I am so scared. What if people don't walk in? What if it's a fail? And she told me something so nice. She's like, it's good that you're scared, because ego has no place in your heart, and you will work, and that is coming out of pure joy and the necessity for you to create something, what you're doing. And this might be a long journey for you, but be proud that you even started it. So same, like, show up regardless. Just show up.
Yeah.
And we're so happy that you did. So my question would be, what's next in your life? What is coming up? What are we looking forward to?
Honestly, I'm just looking forward to, like, everything. Like, to be honest, I feel like I've had such a positive just, like, mindset shift, especially in the past, like, month. And two, like, winter thawing out into spring. It's like that spring, oh, I'm growing again.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of that as well. But honestly, I'm excited for my performance, which is going to be June 19th and 20th at the Mariposa Arts Theatre rehearsal space. I have an audition coming up for another play. I'm working on some writing submissions. Still working on my novel, but it's going to happen. Honestly, I'm just really excited about life. Like, I feel like anything is possible, like, limitless, And I'm just so happy to be surrounded by such amazing friends. And honestly, like, I'm just excited about, like, everything. Like, that's just how I feel right now. Like, I feel like this beautiful, just, like, flower that's, like, bloomed, and I'm absorbing all, like, the dewdrops and, like, the sunlight, and I'm just like, oh, life. Like,
when I look at you, I feel it, but I see it, right?
Yeah.
Like, when, like, I think I tell you all the time, I'm like, you're glowing. Like, you're such a ray of sunshine. I want to ask, do you think that you having these, like, let's go into cosplaying, because I love this. Like, Kristen was texting us the other day, and she's like, oh, I'm busy today because I'm building a sword from, I was like, oh my gosh, never let them know your next move. So do you think, because we talk about how creativity is such a big thing that I think we've forgotten about. I think people have, for me especially, I've put creativity on the back burner because I always said I'm not creative. But now that I've tapped into that creative flow, I find my life is so much more expressive and bright and vibrant, and like you said, you're grabbing the dewdrops off the leaves. Would you say, let's go into the cosplay, what would you say this creativity outside of the work, outside of the dream, is actually promoting the dream?
Oh, 100%, 100,000 million %. And yeah, for me, cosplay, so it's something that I did a lot as a teenager. Me and my friends, we would, meet up after, like, when school was, like, over, and we'd go into someone's basement, and we'd be like, okay, let's plan our costumes for, like, Fan Expo that year, for, like, Anime North. And we had so much fun, and it was such, like, a pure-hearted, just, like, joyful time. And then when I got into university, I kind of stepped away from cosplay, from acting, from just being, like, whimsical, like, in that way, because I was so, like, focused on this goal of, like, I'm going to go into academia, this and that.
I cannot imagine you working.
I know.
It just, like, corporate clothing. Like,
It's
no.
not me.
You know what I picture of you being in, like, the academic kind of setting is Professor, what's the professor off of Harry Potter? The mystic one?
Yeah.
And where Hermione's like,
The
I don't
one-
like her. That would be you.
I would say, like, when you talk about it, I picture her as Hermione. For some reason, like, I think, like, that I can picture that, but no.
Well, I love learning, and I love reading, and I love keeping up with all of the, like, archaeology news and, like, classical studies. But I think when I get back into that world, it's going to be to write fiction novels inspired by my favorite, stories and myths. I really want to write one about Lavinia from Virgil's Aeneid. But I have it, like,
In the works.
yes.
Yeah.
So I think that'll be how I kind of reconnect to that. But yeah, just going back to the cosplay. So I think, like, the reason why cosplays kind of burst back into my life recently is just because, again, like, I'm having more fun. I'm allowing myself to just be, like, whimsical, fun, and just having that, like, enjoyment. And it's, like, just not being really scared what anyone thinks. And it's, like, it's just fun. Like, it's fun to just get crafty and to just do something. And then, recently I've been so lucky. I've been able to meet a lot of really new, interesting friends as well that have just happened so, like, naturally, who are also really into, like, cosplay and making things. So, yeah, I think that's just been a really special thing as well that's kind of, like, propelled me back into that space.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also, too, just kind of, like, the whole, like, it doesn't need to be perfect. Like, there are so many cosplayers out there. They're so talented, and they've been doing it forever, and they've been working, like, on their, craft for so many years, and the costumes are gorgeous. Like, but for me, I'm kind of starting from ground zero again. So, yeah, I'm making a sword. Is it made out of cardboard? Yeah. But maybe when that prototype is finished and it turns out good, maybe I'll move on to, like, EVA foam, But it's like I'm just letting myself have fun with it again, and that's the most important thing.
Exactly. And what's wrong with that? It's always beautiful to have fun.
I think that's where people get when we talk about the world of manifestation and the law of attraction. When we're talking about being, you've embodied it completely. Like, you just be, right? When you're cosplaying, when you're creating your cardboard sword and you're with your, this beautiful community that you've created, you're in enjoyment. Joy is what brings more things to be joyful for. So when you step away from that sword and you go to your computer or you go to your art or whatever it is that you're working on, you carry that joy with you. And then that's how it comes out on the page, and people feel that. Like, when I read your work or I see your art, like, I feel something, right? And I feel as, like, artist, as a creator, like, that's the whole point, is to feel something and to get an emotion out of somebody, to have that connection, to bring in that universal attraction of whatever it is you want to create.
Oh, I love that. I think that was so nicely put, and I cannot wait. But I also want to touch on another thing that is so close to Kristen, and that I'm so... Whenever she does this, I am just so excited, but also I'm taken aback by how talented and how magical she is. You talk to fairies.
Yeah.
And you do rune readings, which is such amazing tool in spirituality and knowing about the other world. And every time you've done this reading for me, I've just been how the F do you know this? Because we haven't talked about it. And even like as you were talking to me, the last time you were doing the reading was it's all about interpretations because we don't have the books anymore and so forth. I'm going to let you finish that story because I might not be the best person to talk about it. But what got you into that? And what's like, how do you incorporate that into your everyday living, into your manifestations, into keeping you grounded? And on the days when you're feeling very blah, how do you uplift yourself?
I mean, I've told you both this story before, but, and again, like some people believe in this, some people don't. I believe in it because it happened to me. I have no reason to make this up, but yeah, when I was a kid, these like ethereal figures, they're in my room every single night for 7 years. And they were made of white light and they had like these huge eyes and pointed ears. And yeah, it was pretty scary at the time. But, you know, as you get older, they stopped showing up in physical form. And then, you know, you just kind of like forget. Because that's what the world does. That's what growing up does. It tells you stop believing in fairy tales, stop believing in magic, stop believing that, you know, the world is like special. Like it's just, you know. So, yeah. And then years went on. And yeah, when I was about 20, I remember, and again, you know, I had some difficult experiences growing up. And there were times where I was in a very dark place, right? And I remember this one day when I was 20 years old. It was in the summer. I can't remember the exact time in the summer. I just know that it was the summer. But I remember, I woke up. This was at my old house in Toronto. I woke up and I opened the blinds to my window. And I remember I looked outside and it was like this beautiful sunny summer's day, and I just like felt this like presence almost like return to me, and it was like all those memories of my childhood instantly became like unlocked almost. And it was in that moment that I was like, okay, I'm not like I'm never truly like on my own. Like I'm not like alone like anymore, you know? So yeah, it's just going forward, I've just always really kept that very close to my heart. And as I've gotten older and started to meet other people that are also very, you know, like invested in this kind of stuff, it's really given me that space to be able to talk about it more openly. Because, you know, like you tell some people and they're like, okay.
Yeah.
But it's, yeah, like it's just, it's something that's just a huge inspiration for me, you know, and it's just feeling in tune with, you know, nature and carrying that with me. Mm-hmm. So yeah, like I don't really know what else more I can really say like about it. It's just, yeah, it's just something that I cherish very deeply and I carry it with me constantly. And yeah, it's just, you know, that like beautiful feeling of knowing like someone is watching out for me. Mm-hmm. Like someone's guiding me on this path.
I was gonna ask, is it like for your spiritual practice, like staying grounded and stuff, do you have like a meditation practice or a routine that you do, whether you do it every day or when you feel like, as Kakancha was saying, like not grounded or you're feeling blah? Like, is there something you return back to, like you call upon these three spirits that are connected to you, kind of thing?
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, as Akansha was mentioning, I do read runes as well, so I'll often do, you know, readings for myself. Akansha did give me a beautiful deck of fairy tarot cards a couple years ago, and I've been using them. They're so gorgeous, and I've been using them like frequently, almost every day now. So I find if I'm ever feeling kind of off kilter or off balance, you know, I'll get into that kind of like meditative state. I do have a little shrine in my room that just has, you know, like keepsakes on it, some like rocks that I really love, just some special things that I found out in like the forest, things like that.
I love that.
And yeah, like I'll just try to really kind of focus down and just first of all think, well, where are these feelings of doubt or sadness or anger? Like, where are they coming from?
Yes.
Because that's something that I've really been trying to focus on as well recently, is just like, if I'm gonna get into a really upset like state, like I want to like pinpoint like where's that coming from, so that I can like really try to just like double down on like what is like the reason, like why am I feeling this right now, and if we can we pull out of it? I mean, sometimes you can't, like, even if you're generally like even though like I try to stay like relatively up as much as I can, there are still days where like you're just down for like no
You're
specific
human.
reason, right? It's
Yeah.
like we're all just human. We all try our best, and it's all we can really do. But yeah, just doing those little kind of day-to-day like rituals, I guess, just to kind of reground, refocus. Something that I've also been doing a lot is I've been doing affirmation journaling, which I never used to do.
Wow.
I never used to do this. And I don't know why, because it seems like something that I would really love to do, but I just never like did it. But I've been doing it very consistently now for about a month, and the change in my just day-to-day mindset is it's like astronomical. Like, and I've been talking to myself more positively as well. Like, instead of just like waking up and kind of looking for things to get like, you know, like annoyed at or like vexed at, I'm like, no, like I am beautiful. I am loved. My dreams matter. I'm surrounded by so many amazing people. Like, every day I'm just so like in awe of just like my family and my friends and like you guys and just like this amazing kind of network that we've all built. And everyone's just so genuine and supportive, and we all just want each other to like be our best like selves. And it's just so amazing, because when I first moved to Muskoka, like I didn't know anyone. I was just like, okay, like, and now almost 10 years later, it's like unbelievable, like just what we all have. So I'm just really happy about that.
I know, right? It's so scary when you first move into a town where you absolutely do not know anyone, and you're just like, am I going to be able to make friends, or how is that going to look like? But it's so amazing, and thank you for saying that out loud, because we have been saying it, like, if you feel it in a certain way in your body, ask the why and keep on asking the why. So hearing someone else say it out loud and preach it on the same show,
Yeah.
it just makes my heart so happy. And I'm like, oh my God, Christy, we did it. Although Kristen is not influenced by us, but we did it.
Yeah.
You guys do influence me, though. You guys inspire me so much. Like,
You inspire us too.
I'm so proud of like both of you all
Aww.
the time, every day.
Kristen, let's talk about you have a like huge list of things that you've done. I want you to showcase to our listeners where they can find your work. I want you to talk about the publications, where your art is in Muskoka. I just want you to like just go off, celebrate you.
My Instagram is kind of like my main thing, where I post most of my art, my poems. I don't post many snippets from my novels because they're still being worked on, but that will be where that will all kind of trickle onto eventually. So my Instagram is just Kristen Wildfire. You can find me there. I do have a TikTok, but I don't use it that often, but you're also free to dive on there if you want to, but I'm a lot more active on Instagram. In Muskoka, I have a permanent mural in Nerva Beauty. Her window pieces, so they have been washed off now. But I've done work for Blooming Muskoka and Gravenhurst and Bakery by the Lake, which was formerly in Port Carling. So, and then I had an art piece come out in As Alive Journal last week, so you can check that out there. And then...
Can I just, sorry, interrupt? It's so beautiful.
I was going to say, I was so moved when you showed me that picture. It is
thank you.
It's so gorgeous.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. And you know what? I drew that a couple years, like, it
you
was
were saying
like,
that.
Like, it's not from this year. It's from maybe 3 years ago. And then I just felt like I had to submit it to them. I was like, like, what do I have? So again, if you are sitting on a big pile of art, start submitting it to literary, magazines and stuff, because you never know.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And then as for my writing, I have a short story called Peach Moon, which you can read in Dark Winter Literary Magazine that came out a couple months ago.
So can I just ask you one more question? I'm so intrigued by both of you, actually, because you both write. And if someone who's watching it are beautiful CEOs who are into this journey where they have written a piece, what advice would you give them to start on looking for a publisher, or how does that journey look like? And it's a question, open-ended question for the both of you.
Well, it depends what realm of writing that you want to tap into. If you want to do like short stories and poetry, I would recommend just start looking for indie magazines and just start sending your work over. And it's a great way to just get your work seen and started and to meet other authors and things like that. But of course, if you're writing like a novel, you have like the two, pathways open to you. There's self-publish, or if you want to try to get a literary agent and then go the more traditional route. Both are equally hard.
Mm-hmm.
Both are equally hard. So you just have to kind of double down. And you can tell me if you agree or disagree, Christy, after. But I think, you just have to kind of figure out like what pathway is right for my specific work.
Mm-hmm.
And then just start like researching, start doing it. But I think my advice to anyone who's starting out, look up some Canadian literary magazines and just start sending your poems and your short stories, because it's a great way to get used to that process of being rejected.
Yeah.
I get rejected probably 20 times, and then I'll get like one like yes, and that's just part of putting your art like out there. There's always going to be no's, but there will be a yes at some point. So just don't give up.
I think that's universal too, because you hear it through actors. They're like, I went to 47 auditions and the 48th one I got it. You hear about, people who they're like, I got 27 rejections from literary agents, and then I published myself, and then I had literary agents knocking at my door. So you just like don't, as you're saying, don't take the no personally, don't take the rejection personally. It really has nothing to do with anything. It's just a numbers game at this point. 100%. And there's also another avenue for publishing that I went through. It's called hybrid publishing, where it's you pay a publisher, a hybrid publisher, and you kind of, they give you like a menu almost, is the best way to describe it. You can pick and choose what you want to take from them. They help you get the ISBN number. They help you launch it through the distributor like Ingram Sparks or KDP, Amazon Kindle, and you can pay for an editor, you can edit yourself. Like, you kind of get to pick and choose the components you want of the publishing, and then they kind of direct you if you have any questions that way. But I completely agree with you. I think any route you take, whether it's traditional publishing or indie publishing, it's going to be, it's going to take something. You're going to have to go through the rejections as you go through the literary agents, but trust that you'll find the one that is absolutely meant for you. That's how I look at it. When I got those, I sent in a while ago for literary agent query letters, and I got a whole bunch of rejections, and I'm just like, well, you weren't mine. And it's not anything personal, it's just you have to trust the process, right? And I think the other thing too, I think was really helpful, at least for me, was if you're starting out, get into writers groups, find a writing buddy or find an accountability partner, because I think that's what you and I did for a long time. Like, we went and met at a cafe, we made like a whole ordeal. We really got into the embodiment of being, which I talk about a lot. And it just gets you into the spirit of what it's like to be a writer, and then you can kind of bounce ideas off each other. I got edits back and I was like absolutely crushed. I took it so personally, and I just said to Kristen, and she talked me back up, and I was like, okay, like, no, I'm good. So there's something about having this kind of community that we always talk about that really helps you move through the hard times and the good times.
Absolutely.
So in the gist of it, it also is a reminder to all the beautiful CEOs that it's similar to when you're starting a business, or to, like, if the failure is happening, that does not mean that you as a person's failing. It's just the idea was weak or it wasn't aligned. So maybe go back into seeing how can you change and what is alignment looking like for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, thank you so much, Kristen, for everything that you do and the beacon of sunshine that you are in our life, and being the reason why Christy and I are sitting in this room together and, the amazing friend you are and how you uplift us. And you're someone that I always look at when I'm not feeling the greatest. Like, I think I sent you voice messages a lot more. And the first time Kristen was like, do you want me to send you voice notes? I was like, yes.
We need to hear you.
I was like, I love voice notes. Like, what are you talking about? But it's always so good that we both are so lucky, Christy and I, that we have a friend like you who's so passionate, who's so grounded, and who's so focused. I've always been moved by the fact that, you know, you could make a plan, and Kristen, if she has some writing to do, she'll be so upfront and be like, nope, I have writing to do. And I adore that so much, because that's the boundary that we lack as humans. And, you know, you have it. And I'm so jealous at the same time. It's like, how do you do it? But thank you so much for coming to this podcast and inspiring not only us, but our beautiful CEOs, and giving them an insight into your world and how amazing you are.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Love you guys so much. Thank you for having me on. So happy to be here. Thank you.
We love you too.
Thank you.
And as always, thank you for staying till the end with Christy and I and Kristen, which you probably hear a lot of talk about when we do our podcast.
So now you know who.
We might start giving royalty to Kristen soon.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
She's like, I birthed this.
Yeah.
Like, please and thank you. My bank account is this.
Sorry, guys.
And just a reminder that Christy and I, we're not ahead of you. We're not behind you. We're walking this journey hand in hand with you. And we hope that you share this episode with the person you think that really needs to hear this and be inspired. And until next time.